teachers who would want them, of which I would like to order additional sets, an entire set of 30 textbooks, $475 for the set. So it's a heck of a lot cheaper than going out and spending probably somewhere in the area of $130 for a hardcover textbook that Mr. McIntosh feels this would meet the needs of the curriculum. It's a supplement to the existing textbook, which is quite outdated. It's 2001, and
What course is that again?
all the civics and government
All civics,
courses,
okay.
yeah,
Right.
so at all 3 levels. So he thinks that this book, and I'm going to, certainly trust and respect his judgment on it, he believes that this book can serve the purpose well at far less of a cost. So we'd like to pilot it next year, see how it goes. There are also a number of free professional development activities that BU will sponsor our teachers to go to, again, free of charge. It culminates with a program called, let me see if I get it right here. It is, excuse me just a second, the congressional hearings. Mr. McIntosh prepared a little summary paper for me to share with you tonight. He wrote that the culminating activity is a simulated congressional hearing in which students testify, quote unquote, testify before a panel of judges, and he would like to bring in people from the community to serve on those panels for students to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of constitutional principles and have opportunities to evaluate, take, and defend positions on relevant historical and contemporary issues. So I guess my pitch to you, if you will, is that I think this is something that has feasibility both financially but also academically, of course, and I'd like to get your permission for us to go forward with utilizing this book as a supplement in the civics and government courses at academic honors and advanced placement level.
I reviewed all 4 books. I obviously didn't read them in great depth, but I did select certain sections that I felt I had knowledge in and picked on those particular sections. And they seem to have the right substance and seem to be good texts. I paid particular attention to that one, and felt that it was current. Actually, very current, and was totally appropriate.
I wanted to, I didn't have enough time obviously to go through the whole book, but on the sports and entertainment marketing, I think a key issue today is internet, internet marketing and social media, and I just want to make sure that the course curriculum does cover that, because that's just so much of the marketing and communications is going onto that online social media platform, and I'm sure the book does get into it, but it changes so fast, so you'd have to print a new textbook every year to keep up with it. So, but it looks like it does covers the internet and the basics. So I think that any teacher could just build from that baseline.
Yeah, I would expect that there would be some more relevant hands-on contemporary activities that he would weave into the course. The textbook serves as the framework, but it's kind of the skeleton, if you will, and we kind of add to that. And I think that's the idea with the philosophy course, too, and probably most textbooks.
Now I do have a question for Carl. Is this coming out of the money we're using for pre-expenditures this year? Is it coming out of our book? How are we funding these?
Well, I think John and I haven't talked about this, but is it fair to say that it's your school budget?
It's coming out of the operating budget.
The operating budget, right? That's okay.
Yes.
So next year's operating budget.
Out of the fiscal year 11 operating
Okay.
budget. I will audit. I didn't want to audit them before I got
Okay.
your approval. So my plan would be to audit these, assuming you approve them tonight, that I would audit them after July 1st, out of the line item budgets for each of the departments.
Okay. So we need a motion.
I
Oh,
move that we approve
the four
the 4
books, 4 textbooks. Do we have a second? Okay.
I'm sorry.
We have a motion, a second, further discussion?
I just want to say, I haven't seen these. I did a quick Google and looked up some of the stuff before, after getting my packet. And I feel like I need a little more time, but I don't know if that would hold us up a little bit.
I think we need to get them ordered.
We have to have them ordered
I
too.
think we,
Okay.
because if the longer we wait, then there's a chance that we don't get them on
Right,
time.
in time.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll trust the judgment of the rest of the committee.
I'll trust the judgment of the staff.
I agree.
Yeah, hopefully. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Next, we have everybody's favorite time of year, and every year there's a few
Do
more
you
pages.
just want a
it
motion to
seems.
adopt, or do I need to go through it?
No, actually.
One of these years, I'm gonna come in with a, yes, no.
The one thing I wanted to suggest, John, and I don't know if this makes sense, because you have new students in every year, but you also have sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Does it make sense to either italicize or put in bold the new sections so people understand that they're new sections and they will read those sections?
I don't think that's a bad idea. I will tell you that each year, when I send out the packet, I highlight the key new sections
Okay,
to
so
the
as long as you're
handbook.
doing that, then that's fine.
I do include it in the
Okay.
letter. If we make a substantial change to a policy or a practice, I do highlight it.
Okay, then that's fine.
I mean, I think I need to. And I will tell you also that when I meet with the classes on opening day, each of the 4 classes, I do the same thing. I
Okay.
specifically explain to them that there's been a change in, whatever that might be, so.
I think we can quickly go through.
Sure, I think, what I did, I think,
is on page 9.
if you want to, just don't, I could ask you not to pay attention to like the page alignments and things like that. My copy is gonna be, ultimately it'll be different. I mean,
Okay.
I haven't made those adjustments because there wasn't a need to yet, but, I think if I could go through with you the things that I think I've changed that, and by the way, there's a substantial reorganization to the book. We, along with the school council, we made a concerted effort, and I had members that spent a lot of time, as well as Mr. Osmeric and I, to what we think is make the book much more user-friendly, kind of section it off, if you will. So, it looks different, but there isn't an awful lot of substantive change, okay?
Okay.
So, I think the first change comes on page 9, with the guidance services, and I tried, the ones that had a little bit of meat to them, I put in red type just so you call your attention to that. But essentially, I just made the point that how the students are assigned to guidance counselors for their caseloads, and I think
That
it's
does seem straightforward.
I think it's nice for parents to know that, barring, in most cases, they have the same guidance counselor for all 4 years, okay? The next item, on page 10, the graduation requirements, there's nothing new here, that you've already approved this in the program of studies, but believe it or not, we never had graduation requirements in the handbook. It was always only in the program of studies. So what I did this year is I just cut it out of that and I pasted it here. The language is the same, so.
I do have one question, though.
Yeah?
Now that I read this.
Yeah?
You talk about 4 English, 4 social studies, 4 math, et cetera, and then it says, students are required to successfully complete, and it lists with a grade of 60 or higher the following courses. It lists 4 or 5 English courses, but it only lists 3 science courses.
Those are the 3 required. And then you have the fourth one is an elective option. A student could take it.
Oh, okay, so they still have to have 4 credits in science, but 3
Yes, but
required.
those are the required ones in the
All right.
4.
That's the only question I had.
Okay. I think if we keep going, item 12, I just put a section in about parent contact with teachers, recommending the use of email as the primary contact source, and then I made the notation that on the website, which, as you all know, has gone through a major overhaul this year, we have the staff directory on there, so it just points parents to that you can find teachers' emails there.
Is Edline up and running now?
Edline it's up and running. We piloted it this year for the 2nd semester. So for terms 3 and 4, I had, I think, 8 teachers that joined a pilot group. It was interesting, though, that the 8 teachers had very few students, didn't have as many overlap students as you might think, and we captured over 400 families out of, say, the 708 students. There's probably 600 and some odd families. There's obviously brothers and sisters in some families. We got probably 2/3 of those in the pilot. So a lot of parents are used to using that already in the 2nd semester. In September, we're going full-fledged, the entire school required.
What exactly will that, not a lot of detail, what exactly will that?
Sure. No, I think
consist
it's worth talking about. What it essentially will mean is that a parent and a student will have a username and a password to go into Edline, and they will be able to see their academic progress in a course, in all of their courses.
So teachers will be entering test grades and?
My requirement to the teachers is that they have to keep it updated at a minimum of every 2 weeks. That's every 5 classes, because we have the every other day schedule. So every 2 weeks, a parent or a student could go on, and they could see what the tests were from that prior 2 weeks period where they were in. So we will be going to 100% sign on to that next year. The pilot this year was to try it out, to get people used to it, to work out any glitches that existed. There were very few. It went far smoother than I think we thought it was going to go, and so when we go in September, the goal is to have it online for everybody.
I know there are some teachers in the past that have gone off and kind of used their own things on the internet. And
Yes.
I can tell you that's very helpful, and I'll be interested in seeing if there's an increase in parent requests to meet with teachers, talk to
I don't know.
teachers,
Yeah.
because they'll be more
Yeah.
in tune with what's going on in the
I
classes.
don't know. There could be. The teachers, as you say, there are probably, I'm going to go so far as to say probably 7 or 8 teachers that were using their own system, that some of them paid themselves to be on to, like My Grade Book is
Right,
one,
My Grade Book.
School Notes is another one.
Yeah.
Those teachers, I allowed them to continue to use that this year. Number one, because they took the initiative to do it over the last few years. I mean, Ms. Kerrigan is one, Mr. Dorval, they're teachers that have been doing it, and Ms. Garrett. They were using another system of their own. They paid for it. I didn't think it was right to just stop them now. Parents were used to it and liked it. So we let that continue, and then we had, I think it was 8 teachers in total on the Edline program, which is the school system's adopted program.
So
Everyone will be on Edline next year. There will be no other programs like My Grade Book, for example.
So when you send out the packet of information that goes out whenever, will it include a special, we have a lot of information on Edline?
It'll be how to use it, it'll be your individual username, password. I probably won't do that with the opening day packet, just because there's no real point to it in August.
Right.
But in September, I might, because we'll have progress reports in, first, second week of October, so. Right now, we do the progress reports mid-quarter, and then the report card, so the most we're going is 4 weeks. This would now cut that in half to 2 weeks, with parents being able to see how their child is doing.
Okay.
It could lead to, I haven't just quite decided yet if I'm going to eliminate progress reports in the mail and go to just the Edline system. The progress reports, it's expensive. The mailing is very expensive, and I think I would not do that with report cards. I still like the paper report card going home in the mail, but I've toyed with the idea of maybe eliminating the paper progress report going home and just using the Edline system.
I agree, and I personally think that you ought to consider somewhere down the line the report cards too. I understand.
I think it might come.
Yeah,
I think the smart thing to do is to ease people into it. That's
Right.
why we piloted it this year. Very good response to it. And I think we could make it work, I really do. I don't think I'd be inclined to do the report cards all next year.
Right.
But, and remember too, not every single family is signed on with
Right,
computer
and that's
access.
right.
The majority are, but not every single one. And for those folks, we would still do
Right.
the paper reporting.
Well, if you did it all online, you just get people printing them at home and then putting them
Right.
in the file folder.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And I think there's a lot of education, there's a lot of marketing and a lot of reminding, but with the system we have to do those bulk emails, it makes it a lot easier. I mean, I can just send those blasts out to remind people. I do it now to let people know that the report cards or the progress reports were mailed, so that they look for them in the mail. I would just do a similar thing and remind them to check online.
That's great. Any other questions on Edline?
No, I would just like you to come back and clarify when this actually rolls out and everybody.
September.
I just wanna know like how it goes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of a
Status.
report in the
Yeah,
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how well it
I will tell you that the pilot this year, this spring, has been terrific.
sounds good.
Fabulous. Nancy Anzoni of the tech department has been my lead person on it, has responded to parent inquiries. I mean, there were very few. People really, it's pretty simple, which is nice, but I think the benefit is, the calls that people, the requests for conferences might be different kinds of conferences. I'm hoping they are. I'm hoping parents become even more aware of where their child may not
Right,
be
that's
doing
what I
well
was
and want to
getting
meet.
at, right.
That might be a good thing, so.
Yeah. And if Jerry was here, he wouldn't ask me this question because he'd be telling me to hurry up, but what kind, is this somehow related to our district website, or is it a system
Yes.
internally at
It
the high
is.
school?
In order for you to access Edline, you can go, the best thing to do is to go to the district
And
homepage.
just link from
And then
there?
there's a
Okay.
tab.
Okay.
Mike, on middle school, interested in the Edline program at all, or have you heard anything at all?
I have not. I'm sorry.
It'd be a good idea. I think
It's
it'd
a
be,
great idea.
yeah, I think it'd be a good idea, and I think eventually, once everybody gets used to it, teachers and parents, it becomes a lot easier for everybody.
It's like online banking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not all
Same
that
thing.
expensive either, because it's networked with our existing grading system. Our data system for the school department it's